October 14th, 1944. Hürtgen Forest, Germany. 5:27 p.m. The forest is already going dark. Tall pine trees block what little light remains, turning the battlefield into a maze of shadows. The ground is wet, soft, and littered with broken branches. Every step sinks slightly into the mud. Somewhere in the distance, artillery rumbles. Closer, rifle fire cracks between the trees. Then silence. Private Daniel Mercer, 28th Infantry Division, crouches behind the shattered trunk of a fallen tree. His breathing is heavy, too loud. He forces himself to slow it down, because out here, sound carries. And right now, he is alone. Minutes earlier, his unit had been moving through the forest, advancing slowly under constant pressure from German defensive positions. Then the artillery hit. Sudden, accurate. Explosions tore through the trees, sending splinters of wood and earth into the air. Men scattered. Commands were shouted, then lost. And in the chaos, Mercer was cut off. Now the forest has gone quiet again. Too quiet. He grips his rifle tighter, scanning the darkening tree line. No voices. No movement. No sign of his unit. Only the distant echo of battle somewhere behind him. Which means one thing. They've pulled back. And he didn't. Mercer checks his equipment quickly. Rifles still functional. Ammunition limited. 2 full clips. 1 half empty. A single grenade. No radio. No map. Just a vague sense of direction. And the growing realization that he is now behind enemy lines. You can almost feel the weight of that realization. The shift. From soldier in a unit to something else entirely. A lone man in hostile territory. The forest creaks softly as the wind moves through the trees. Mercer freezes. Listening. Then he hears it. Voices. German. Not far. Too close. He drops lower to the ground, pressing himself into the mud beneath the fallen tree. Bootsteps approach slowly through the undergrowth. Branches snap. Low voices exchange quiet words. A patrol. Mercer doesn't move. Doesn't breathe. The sound of boots grows louder, then stops. Only a few meters away. A German soldier steps into view. Rifle slung low. Scanning the forest. Another follows behind him, then a third. They move cautiously, checking the area. Looking. Listening. Mercer tightens his grip on the rifle. His finger rests lightly on the trigger, but he doesn't fire. Not yet. Because firing would give away his position. And out here, he only gets one chance. The patrol lingers for a moment longer, then begins moving again. Their footsteps fade slowly into the forest. Mercer exhales. Quietly. Carefully. Alive. For now. The situation settles in. He is alone. Behind enemy lines. With limited ammunition. And no clear way back. Most soldiers in this situation understand what comes next. Wait. Hide. Hope to be captured, or survive long enough for the front line to shift. Because fighting alone is not survival. It's suicide. But Mercer doesn't move. Doesn't retreat. Doesn't surrender. Instead, he slowly lifts his head, looking deeper into the forest. Listening again. Learning the sounds. The patterns. The movement. Because something changes in that moment. A decision. Small. But absolute. If he stays still, he will be found. If he runs blindly, he will be caught. If he surrenders, it ends here. So he chooses something else. He shifts his position slightly, moving along the fallen tree, keeping low. Careful. Controlled. Deliberate. The forest is no longer just a place to hide. It is terrain. Cover. Advantage. And for the first time since the chaos of the artillery strike, Mercer is no longer reacting. He is thinking. Because somewhere out there, German patrols are moving. searching, assuming the forest belongs to them. And they have no idea. There is still someone here. Watching. Waiting. As darkness settles fully over the Hürtgen Forest, Private Daniel Mercer makes a quiet decision. He is not going to surrender. And somewhere in the trees ahead, another patrol is already moving toward him. October 14th, 1944. Hürtgen Forest. 8:12 p.m. Night settles heavy over the trees. The forest changes when the light disappears. Shapes dissolve into shadows. Distances become uncertain. Sounds feel closer than they are. Every movement, every breath, seems louder in the darkness. Private Daniel Mercer moves slowly between the trees. One step. Pause. Listen. Another step. He doesn't walk like a soldier anymore. He moves like something trying not to be seen. The ground is uneven, thick with roots and damp leaves. Every misplaced step could snap a branch. Every sound could carry. And out here, sound means attention. Attention means death. You can almost feel the tension in his movement. The way his shoulders stay low. The way his head turns constantly. The way he stops, again and again, just to listen. Because the forest is not empty. It is full of unseen movement. Somewhere to his right, a faint metallic click. Mercer freezes. Not instinctively. Deliberately. He lowers himself slowly to the ground. Waits. Listens. Footsteps. Soft. Measured. A German patrol again. Closer this time. Mercer doesn't raise his rifle. Doesn't prepare to fire. Instead, he does something different. He stays still. Because he's beginning to understand something critical. Out here, survival is not about fighting. It's about not being found. The patrol moves through the trees, their silhouettes barely visible against the darkness. One soldier pauses. Turns his head slightly. Listening. For a moment, it feels like he knows. Like he can sense something is there. Mercer doesn't move. Not even his eyes. Seconds pass. Then the soldier turns away. The patrol continues. Disappearing back into the forest. Mercer exhales slowly. Again, alive. But something has changed. This isn't luck anymore. It's learning. He begins adjusting. Every movement becomes intentional. He avoids open spaces. Stays near fallen logs. Keeps to lower ground where shadows are thicker. He learns to move with the forest, not through it. Time passes. Minutes. Maybe hours. It's hard to tell now. The forest has no sense of time. Only darkness and sound. Mercer finds a shallow depression in the ground, a natural dip between roots and rocks. He lowers himself into it carefully. This is where he will wait. For now. He checks his ammunition again. Still the same. Not enough. Not even close. Hunger begins to creep in. A dull ache. Thirst follows. Stronger, but those problems are secondary. Right now, survival comes first. Then, in the distance, voices. More than before. Mercer lifts his head slightly. Careful. He can see faint movement through the trees. Lantern light. Several figures. A larger group this time. Not just a patrol. A repositioning unit. They move slower. More relaxed. Talking. Carrying equipment. They believe this area is secure. And that changes everything. Mercer watches them carefully. Tracks their movement. Counts them. 1, 2, 3, 8. He notices something else. Their pattern. They are not sweeping the forest. They are following a route. A habit. A routine. And routines can be predicted. The thought forms slowly, then settles. If he can predict their movement, he can avoid them. Or he shifts slightly in the dirt. Thinking. Calculating. Because avoiding is not the only option anymore. A single soldier cannot fight an army, but he can choose when to engage. Where? How? The forest gives him something the Germans don't have. Uncertainty. They think the area is clear. He knows it isn't. That difference is power. Mercer watches as the group passes through a narrow section between trees. Choke point. Tight. Predictable. For a moment, he considers it. Raises the rifle slightly. Then stops. Not yet. Because ammunition is limited. And every shot must matter. So he lowers the weapon again. Waits. Learns. The group disappears into the darkness. Their voices fading. Mercer leans back slightly against the cold earth. His breathing steady now. Controlled. This is no longer panic. No longer confusion. This is adaptation. He is no longer just surviving. He is studying. Because if he is going to stay alive out here, he cannot think like a lost soldier. He has to think like something else. And somewhere deeper in the forest, another patrol is already moving. But this time, Mercer is ready. October 15th, 1944. Hürtgen Forest. 3:26 a.m. The forest feels colder before dawn. A thin mist hangs between the trees, clinging to the ground like something alive. Visibility drops. Sound becomes distorted. Distance loses meaning. Private Daniel Mercer is already awake. He hasn't really slept. Not fully. Just moments of stillness between tension. He shifts slightly in his position, eyes scanning the darkness ahead. Waiting. Because now, he is not just hiding. He is anticipating. Somewhere in the forest, movement begins. Soft. Predictable. The same route. The same rhythm. The patrol he observed earlier is returning. Mercer adjusts his grip on the rifle. Slow. Careful. No wasted motion. You can almost feel the shift. The difference between reacting and preparing. The patrol approaches the same narrow passage between trees. Exactly where he expected. Exactly when he expected. 8 men. Same as before. Moving in loose formation. Confident. Unaware. Mercer exhales slowly. His world narrows. Just the space ahead. Just the moment. He raises the rifle. Then waits. Not for fear. For precision. The lead soldier steps into the choke point. Then the second. Then the third. Now. The first shot cracks through the forest. Sharp. Violent. Unexpected. The lead soldier drops instantly. The rest freeze for a split second. Confusion. Shock. Then chaos. Mercer doesn't stay. Doesn't watch. The moment the shot is fired, he's already moving. He slides back into the darkness, shifting position immediately. Because staying means death. Behind him, the patrol erupts into motion. Shouts in German. Rifles firing blindly into the trees. Searching for a target they cannot see. But Mercer is gone. Already 20 meters away. Then 30. Then more. He moves low, fast, silent. Changing direction twice. Then again. Because this is not an attack. It's a message. You are not alone here. The gunfire behind him fades slowly. But the effect remains. The forest is no longer secure. Minutes later, Mercer stops. Drops low again behind another fallen tree. Listening. Voices. Louder now. More of them. Reinforcements. The Germans are responding quickly. Faster than before. More alert. More aggressive. Search patterns begin forming. Wider sweeps. More spacing between soldiers. They are adapting. But so is Mercer. Because now he understands something critical. One shot changed everything. He is no longer invisible. He is a threat. And threats are hunted. But hunting creates movement. Noise. Distraction. And distraction creates opportunity. Mercer shifts his position again, circling slightly around the search area, not away from it, around it, because now he is thinking differently, not like prey, like something controlling the space. He hears footsteps again, closer this time. Two soldiers moving carefully, searching. Mercer lowers himself completely into the ground, barely visible. The soldiers pass within meters. One pauses, looks around. Mercer doesn't move, doesn't blink. Then they move on. Alive again. But the situation is changing fast. The Germans are no longer relaxed, no longer predictable. They are tense, alert, expecting contact. And that makes every movement more dangerous, but also more revealing. Because now, they are reacting to him, and that gives him control. For the first time since he was cut off, Mercer is no longer just surviving the forest. He is shaping what happens inside it. But control comes with a cost, because somewhere deeper in the woods, a larger force is now moving in, and this time, they are not just searching. They are hunting. October 15th, 1944. Hürtgen Forest. Daylight doesn't bring safety. It brings exposure. The forest looks different now. What was once shadow and concealment becomes shape and outline. The mist has lifted just enough to reveal movement between the trees. Too much movement. Private Daniel Mercer crouches behind a cluster of low rocks, barely breaking the line of the forest floor. His eyes track the pattern. Left. Right. Forward. Behind. They're everywhere now. German soldiers move through the forest in coordinated sweeps. Not random patrols anymore. Not loose formations. This is a search operation. Wider spacing. More discipline. Rifles ready. Eyes scanning constantly. They're hunting him. You can almost feel the pressure closing in. The way space itself begins to shrink. The way every direction starts to feel occupied. Mercer doesn't move. He can't. Because movement now is visibility. A branch snaps somewhere to his left, another to his right. Then voices. Closer. Too close. He slowly lowers himself further into the ground, pressing into the dirt and leaves. His body disappears into the terrain. Breathing shallow. Controlled. A German soldier appears between the trees. Then another. Then three more. They move slowly, carefully, methodically. One kneels, examining the ground, tracking. Mercer's jaw tightens slightly, because now it's different. They're not just searching. They're reading the forest, looking for signs. Disturbed soil, broken branches, footprints, and there are signs. There always are. Mercer knows that, which means staying still forever is not an option. But moving at the wrong moment is worse. One of the soldiers steps closer. 5 meters. 4. He pauses, looks directly toward Mercer's position. Time slows. For a moment, it feels like everything stops. Then, a shout from deeper in the forest. The soldier turns. Distracted. Another unit calling out. Movement elsewhere. The group shifts direction. Moves away. Mercer doesn't react. Not immediately. He waits. Counts silently. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Only when the sound fully fades does he move. Slowly. Carefully. Sliding backward, then angling left. Not away. Not directly. Unpredictable. Because predictable movement gets tracked. He moves through a narrow depression in the ground, using the natural dip to stay hidden. The forest becomes his map. High ground avoided. Open space ignored. Dense cover preferred. Every step chosen. But the net is tightening. More voices now. More movement. The search is expanding. And Mercer begins to understand something critical. He is no longer ahead of them. He is inside the perimeter, surrounded. The realization doesn't come with panic. It comes with clarity. Because being surrounded changes the rules. There is no direction that leads to safety, only movement that delays being found. He stops again behind another fallen tree, listens. Artillery in the distance. Closer now than before. The front line is shifting, but not fast enough. He checks his ammunition again. Less now. Every engagement has cost him, and the forest is running out of space. Another group approaches, larger this time. 6, maybe 7 men, moving in a line, sweeping. Mercer watches carefully. They're closing the gaps, and soon, there will be nowhere left to go. He grips the rifle tighter, because the next phase is coming. Not survival, not evasion. Contact. Close. Inevitable. And this time, he may not be able to disappear. Somewhere just beyond the trees ahead, the line tightens. And for the first time since he was cut off, Mercer is about to run out of options. October 15th, 1944. Hürtgen Forest. The forest is closing in. Not physically, but tactically. Private Daniel Mercer crouches behind a broken tree trunk, its splintered wood still raw from artillery fire earlier that morning. His breathing is steady. Too steady. The kind of control that only comes when there are no options left. He listens. Bootsteps. Multiple directions. Closer than before. They're not searching anymore. They're compressing. You can feel it. The invisible lines tightening around him. Every path narrowing. Every gap closing. Mercer glances down at his ammunition. 2 rounds in the rifle. 1 clip left. Half empty. That's it. No resupply. No backup. No second chance. He closes his eyes for just a moment. Not out of fear, out of calculation. Because this is the point every soldier understands. But hope's never comes. The moment where survival is no longer about escape. It's about decision. He opens his eyes again. Looks ahead. The terrain shifts slightly in front of him. A shallow rise. Beyond it, denser trees. Less visibility. More cover. But reaching it means crossing open ground. Exposed. He listens again. Voices to the left. Closer. Another group to the right. Spreading. Behind him. Nothing. They've already passed that direction. Which means forward is the only unknown. The only possibility. But also the most dangerous. You can almost feel the weight of that choice. The kind that doesn't feel like a choice at all. Mercer grips his rifle. Adjusts his position slightly. He doesn't rush. Doesn't panic. Because panic makes noise. And noise ends everything. He waits. Counts. Listens. The soldiers to his left move slightly ahead. Their spacing increases. A gap. Small. But real. Now, Mercer moves. Fast. Low. Silent. He crosses the open ground in seconds. Each step controlled. Each movement deliberate. Halfway across, a shout. They've seen something. Not him. Not yet. But close enough. Mercer doesn't stop. Doesn't look back. He hits the tree line and disappears into the shadows. Behind him, gunfire erupts. Random at first. Then focused. They're reacting. Closing. Mercer pushes deeper. Branches whip against his uniform. Boots hit uneven ground. But he doesn't slow. Because now, it's a race. Between him and the closing perimeter. Another shout behind him. Closer. Too close. Mercer drops suddenly behind a thick tree trunk. Raises the rifle. Waits. A German soldier appears through the trees. Moving fast. Scanning. Mercer doesn't hesitate. One shot. The soldier drops. Mercer doesn't watch. He's already moving again. One round left in the chamber. The forest thickens. Visibility drops. Good. This is where he survives. This is where he disappears again. Minutes pass. Then more. The sounds behind him begin to fade. Not gone, but distant. The perimeter has broken. Mercer slows. Finally, drops to one knee behind cover. Listening. Nothing immediate. No voices. No footsteps. Just the wind through the trees. For the first time in hours, he is no longer surrounded. But he is still alone. Still deep behind enemy lines. Still with almost no ammunition. And now, something else begins to settle in. Exhaustion. Real. Heavy. But beneath it, something stronger. He made it through the encirclement. Not by strength. Not by firepower. But by decision. One moment at a time. And somewhere ahead, beyond the forest, the front line is still shifting. Still moving. Which means one final question remains. Can he make it back? Or will the forest take him before the war does? October 16th, 1944. Hürtgen Forest. 5:41 a.m. Dawn comes slowly through the trees. A pale grey light filters down, barely touching the forest floor. The air is cold, damp. Every surface carries moisture, leaves, bark, soil. Private Daniel Mercer hasn't slept. Not properly. Just moments of stillness between awareness. Between listening. Between surviving. He lifts his head slightly. Listens. No voices. No movement. For now, the forest is quiet. But quiet doesn't mean safe. It means unseen. Mercer shifts carefully, testing his legs. They feel heavier now. Every movement slower. Controlled, but slower. He checks his rifle. One round. That's all. The rest is gone. Spent in moments that mattered. You can almost feel the weight of that single bullet. The final margin. The last option. He exhales slowly. Because now, the objective has changed. Not survival in place. Return. Somewhere beyond these trees, the American lines are still moving. Still advancing. Still fighting. He just has to find them. Mercer studies the terrain ahead. The slope of the ground. The direction of distant artillery. Because sound travels differently now. More defined. Less scattered. And somewhere in that distant echo is direction. He moves. Not fast. Not slow. Measured. Every step placed with intention. He avoids the paths. Avoids the obvious routes. Because patrols will use those. Instead, he cuts through denser terrain. Harder to move. But safer. The forest feels different now. Not hostile. Not controlled. Just space. Space to move. Space to think. Hours pass. The light grows stronger. Visibility improves. And with it, risk increases. Mercer pauses behind a cluster of rocks. Listens. Distant gunfire. Closer now. Not random. Structured. Frontline engagement. He's getting closer. But so are they. Another patrol moves through the trees ahead. Smaller this time. 3 men. Relaxed. Talking. They don't expect him anymore. Because the search area is behind. They think he's gone. Which means, this is his moment. Mercer lowers himself. Waits. The patrol passes within meters. He doesn't move. Doesn't engage. Because now, the goal isn't control. It's distance. He lets them pass. Then moves again. Faster now. The forest begins to thin slightly. The sound of artillery grows louder. Clearer. And then, A new sound. Voices. Different. English. Mercer stops. Freezes. Listens carefully. Yes. American voices. Close. Very close. He moves toward them. Careful. Still cautious. Because mistakes happen here. Misidentification. Friendly fire. He raises one hand as he approaches. Keeps the rifle low. Steps into a small clearing. Immediately. Hold it. Don't move. Rifles snap toward him. American soldiers. Mercer stops instantly. Raises both hands. I'm friendly. Silence. Tense. Measured. One soldier steps forward. Looks closer. Recognition. Jesus. Where did you come from? Mercer doesn't answer immediately. Because the words don't come easily. Not after everything. Not after days alone. He lowers his hands slowly. Safe. Finally. The tension leaves his shoulders all at once. Not dramatically. Quietly. Like something heavy being set down. Behind him, the forest remains. Silent. Unchanged. But for Mercer, everything is different now. He made it back. Not by strength. Not by luck. But by refusing to surrender. When surrender was the only logical option, his stand didn't change the war. Didn't shift the front lines. But it proved something else. That even in isolation, even in uncertainty, even when completely alone, a soldier can still decide. And sometimes, that decision is enough to survive.